fairly flexible, but it isn't on the back end for the buyer. If I'm in Harlow, right now you're capped at 1% annual increase in the value of your home. In Townsend, might be growing 5 to 6%. So the CRO, I mean, they pull off 5 or 6% annual increase when somebody does sell it. So the person who has bought it potentially may not be getting ahead in the end because you're not paying that much principal.
But is it only applicable to single-family homes?
It is. It has to be ownership. So I mean, you could do a condo. It could be this co-op model, but it has to be ownership.
So if there was a, it's be ideal. There's a nonprofit organization. They're going to acquire property. They're going to use that opportunity of scale to build lower cost housing. Mm-hmm. Can they tap these funds along with others in order to make this come to pass?
I think there is. My take and my read at this point, which is why I've been having conversations with NeighborWorks. We're trying to have a conversation with the Buildings Group. And part of that is Helena has $7.5 million available and we have $350,000 here. So that one, I mean, bigger scale with the idea that now how do we steal some of that idea and apply it here to get more bang for our buck. But I think there is a way. It comes down to the person who gets it has to have a bank note that can be tied to property.
Yeah, and that's where, Brian, I don't know if we've had any of the conversations with the CROs on that. I know that Kaya didn't incorporate that into her. So I think now, because Homeward hasn't released theirs yet, exactly. Now would be a good time if you're interested in adding that cooperative language to it. We can get co-ops through it. It's just a matter of would they do a shared loan versus an equity note.
Right.
Yep.
And that there's a weird technical component there that we have to verify that the state law would allow us to.
I'm recognizing the term CRO. Is this the thing that came out about 3 years ago?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Weird.
I remember it being
it's taken a long time.
an amazing mess when I read it the first time.
Exactly.
So there's 3 organizations in the state that became the CROs. Great Falls, NeighborWorks took a certain portion. They partnered with NeighborWorks Montana. They're doing all but the village. So basically the state's kind of split in half.
It's chopped up into a handful of large regions, and you have to work within a hopefully common, but not necessarily common set of rules.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And what scares me is Mark County has $90,000. I mean, to me, that's going to be one bank finds one home in town, and we have one person that gets $9,000 off on their home purchase. That's
potentially.
Yeah.
If they even go through the hassle of it.
Right.
So what percentage of seniors, citizens are willing to give up their family home to go into?
There's the question.
Yeah.
I couldn't get my mom to think about it.
No. It's, in my experience in dealing with senior citizens, it's the last thing they want to do is leave their home, even if it's gigantic 4-bedroom.
Look at Mrs. Hooks in the home right on Broadway. I mean, I heard stories she wasn't in the upstairs in the last 4 or 5 years.
But
I mean, that's
there's
massive.
quite a few people. I mean, the waiting list for the little senior housing area over there on D Street, is a mile long.
Exactly. So there is
people
some
that want,
yeah.
But a lot of those people that have, they're not been homeowners.
Right.
They're,
right.
They've been lifelong workers, and so they, that's their affordability.
I think it's this perception that feels like that's assistance. I know for my mom, she doesn't need the assistance, somebody else should have that.
In a sense, we're being unfair about this presentation. If all you do is go to a senior citizen in the town today and say, hey, you got this big honking house, you obviously can't keep it clean. Can we move you into this nice little location and put that house back on the market? And the answer is going to be no.
Right.
If it isn't 100% of the time, it's a very short fraction below it.
Exactly.
On the other hand, if we came up with a plan, Mr. and Mrs. So-and-so, we've got this fabulous development over here. You're welcome to be a part of the discussion. We're developing a set of homes. It's going to have integrated services. It's going to decrease your costs. It's going to decrease your tax burden. It's going to decrease everything. You're only that far away from your original home. Your family's going to want to come and visit you.
And you might have some cash on top of it if your
Right.
existing home is worth more than this.
And while I would never assume the percentage to drop from 100% to zero,
Right.
I would expect that it is possible for it to suddenly start dropping because somebody has something to see value in, where right now they see no value in.
Right. I do. I mean, we've always had the people that live in the county who, as you age, somebody else is running the farm. At that point, you just kind of feel it's time to move on. They just don't have a place to go.
Right.
So there's a weird niche group right there.
There's housing organizations like this all over the United States. Some of them are massive. There's obviously people who will buy into it as long as the program is actually discussable and sellable.
Exactly.
Where right now all we're saying is, do you want to give up your home?
Right.
Well, of course the answer is no.
I think the Valley is a prime example of what you're saying, Judy. So when Riverside Crossing started 10, 12 years ago, it took a long time. They were starting with ground zero. They had these beautiful layout plans, but they kind of approached it the same way. We're going to take the burden of your home away from you, right? Your home's burdensome, and it was offensive.
My grandmother didn't
Right.
see her home as a burden, despite the fact that mine
So-
very perfectly well, it was a burden.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So now that it's getting developed and they've seen first phase and they're starting to watch their friends or moving out there, and they're like, wait a second, this is attractive.
I don't have to.
So it
mow the
took
lawn,
some time,
weed the snow.
and the approach is very, you have to be very careful when you're talking about approach to a senior citizen, about their home that they've invested years in. Now, I would say in communities that I've worked in, a lot of times seniors are at the table saying, we need something else. I'm tired, right? And if you can get them to come to the table and talk about, I'm tired of taking care of a 4-bedroom house and lawn and all of that, where can I go without leaving my community? There's a little bit of scarcity there, or scaredness there though, in the sense that most rural communities don't have anything else for them except for the nursing home, and they're not ready for that, so they're not speaking up on it. They're not going to admit that the house is too big for them, that they don't want to maintain it, they don't want to do anything, because they don't see any other alternative but moving to Kalispell.
Great Falls has, it's an apartment complex, but they do all their meals in-house. They include transportation, so all your costs are included. They have a van that will run you to any of your stuff that you need. They have entertainment in there. They have social hours every night. All your meals are there. Like, they take care of everything for you. And then they have, no, Rainbow Scary. I delivered meals to several of them when I was here. The Iris.
Oh, okay.
And it's 55 plus, and they stay very full because they create this really fun community. And you've got your little apartment, but you're all engaged and you're still in town, and they have the bus so you're not stuck, and they take you to all your stuff. They've made it a place that people are like counting down till they're 55.
Well, it's a la carte type area too, so if you don't need the bus, you don't use it, right? So they have that kind of system.
Oddly enough, my engineering background's getting in the way. You're
That's
looking
not
at.
odd at all.
You would stop. You're looking, right now, what you just presented was a single solution. It's very, and I'm delighted to hear it succeeding. That as I sit here and thinking about it, let's start from scratch and build a central apartment building that's exactly like what you described. And over here is a smaller, very close-knit community that's going to be assisted and still single-home living. And over here is a wider community that is people who can still do some work on their own, but you've reduced a lot of the burden. And it's all a combined community with all of these activities that give people the chance to see the benefit of shifting from one location to the next as they approach end of life.
And don't lose that connection with their friends. I
Right.
across the street or across the sidewalk.
I can see the bigger version of what you're describing working extremely well.
Yeah, that's it. It's
Yeah.
real. It's not a big unit, but it has to have a little bit of all of them to be that, they call it the continuum of care.
Right. Okay, you've already heard this pitch.
Similar.
Yeah, I
The
think
problem
that's
is-
because I've been mentioning it all,
It's-
but I think I'm being first.
It's the senior center, or the senior home that becomes the next skilled care, which then becomes the, yeah,
It could be a hospital take you out the back door.
right. But it
We-
it needs to happen before you're at that point. It's that 55 to 65. If we can get that churn going, but you have to create that vision, and it has to be more than just one thing.
Right.
It's something Florida and Arizona have done exceptional jobs of, is creating these communities that everybody wants to live in. And they have great models for what makes people want to move there, besides the fact that it's warm. They have that too, but.
That's a huge benefit, but I've been to Florida in a rainstorm.
My husband's from
There's
Florida.
occasional negatives.
So is a clubhouse type structure something that would be in a law area?
Sure could be.
Yeah.
Okay, like a little,
Indoor greenhouse, I mean, those things that certain people, I mean,
create a little community.
Yeah.
in that co-op.
would love to still have a garden, but I just don't have that. And the community garden, it's just kind of out of the way, but if it's out my door and 45 steps away, I'm gonna go do that.
Did you?
So the whole idea kind of is just creating the interest to change the bedroom community that Townsend currently is, especially in the elderly community. And so how do you market that? How do you, because you gotta show the value to them as a living situation and why it's going to be better. So how do you market that? How do you reach out to the elderly folks, the seniors? And we're gonna portray this and turn that corner. It's a marketing all day long, and how you sell the sizzle, because it does make sense. There's nothing that we're talking about doesn't make sense. Especially for, if you want to care for our parents or grandparents or our loved ones to be in a better place, not only for them, but for us, to help manage them and give them a better
I
life.
don't worry as much.
But this town has been so embedded in bedroom community
Yeah.
for a gazillion years, born and raised here. So how do we turn that corner and market that?
That could be coming back to what you were talking about on those ORE funds, the idea we could do a design charrette. have
That's what
them-
I'm thinking, Brian. I think that maybe doing some planning around that thing. And then I also think two things. One, do you guys have a council of aging? Like a county council of aging? I wonder if they could talk to what Ravalli did and how they started the whole conversation. Now their director of the council of aging in Ravalli, Paul Travitz, actually, but our organization put a lot of money into Paul understanding the co-op business model, and he now is the manager plus lives on site of the Riverside Crossing, and that is
Literally completely bought it.
really cool way. Like, I think there's some education that we can do where you're seeing it in another community. That also had a very much Hamilton, Ravalli County, very similar in this idea of a bedroom community for Missoula. So kind of the same, but also a lot of recreation around it, had a lot of aging populations. I don't think they've solved that issue. This is one part of a bigger solution in what they're working on. So that, and then I think getting you in touch with Village Co-op. I don't think that this would be a size of community that they would do, but they are looking at other markets right now.
Take the
And
model.
this is an opportunity for us to see what they could do, because they would then come in with the design and the elements. If we have that discussion and do that marketing side, or help you with that marketing side too.
Let me put something out. So I recall that your primary background's in sales, isn't it? If we're talking about specific channel opportunities, you've got a hospital with an assisted care wing. They've got, I'm sure they've got a